Hello everybody, welcome back to another vlog. Welcome to a day of Vlogmas. Now, today's Vlogmas is going to be a sit chatty one because it's been a very dull few couple of days here in Casa Crack, and honestly the vlog would just be so boring. So I thought for today's video we would do the birth story. And the birth story that I've promised you, because let me tell you, it's a wild ride, honestly, and I love talking about it. There are so many details that I'm worried this is going to be a really long video. So grab a drink. I've gone for a hot water, as you can tell. If you're new here, yes, I like hot water. It's just calming and nice on the belly, all right? Also, if you are new here, this is my vlog channel where we post cozy, homey vlogs, and I hope you can stick around, subscribe if you want to, helps me out, so go for it if you want. Let's get stuck into my birth story. I'm also kind of posting this for myself, so in a few years' time I can look back and remember everything that happened. Now, I'm actually gonna be 100% transparent. I tried to vlog the birth. The only clips I got were this. It is baby's due date today. My waters broke. Well, I was at church and I felt a little trickle, and I didn't know if that was me going into labour or if I wet myself.
Today is her due date. I think so. Grace, is baby moving well?
Haven't really thought about it.
Haven't really given much thought to it. It was moving this morning, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, have you felt it move since your waters broke?
Yeah.
Or, I mean, it's literally I can see fluid coming out. So it's yeah. Do you have any pain?
Yeah, my lower back.
Her lower back is a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, I do not know how anybody does a birth vlog, because let me tell you, my mind was on one thing and one thing only, and that was getting that baby out of me. I was not thinking about vlogging at all. Well, in moments it crossed my mind, and then it went very, very quickly. But I feel like I need to kind of start at the pregnancy, because I didn't fully keep you in the loop in everything that happened with my pregnancy, and that was because it was so overwhelming, and there were moments where I was just like, what the heck is going on? Already when you're pregnant, people give so many different opinions, and I just didn't need any more opinions or anything like that, because people say, do this, don't do that, do this, and all that, and it was just too much. But long story short, there were iron transfusions. I was told the baby was too big. I was going to have to have a C-section. It was lots of different things that happened. But I went to my 38-week growth scan. And just if you are watching this, take growth scans with a pinch of salt, because I spoke to so many other women who told me that their growth scan was wrong. And I was told that at my growth scan that I would have to be induced or C-section because he was measuring too big. However, I got to my 38-week growth scan where I was going to put my induction plan into place, and the consultant was basically like, you're literally fine. We don't know why they've been saying that your baby's big and worrying you this whole time. So we were back to kind of, you can have whatever birth plan you want, which was amazing. Now, my birth plan was a water birth. That's what I really wanted, because as you all know, I love a bath. So that was what we were aiming for. So I woke up on my due date, and I did not think I was going to give birth on my due date, because everyone was telling me the first time you have a baby, you are always late, and you never have a baby really on your due date or before, unless you're really lucky. And I was kind of prepared in my head. I was like, I'm going to be late. I'll probably be like 10 days late, maybe have to be induced. I was very open to whatever was going to happen. I also had no signs. My belly hadn't dropped. I feel like in your face you can tell normally when you're about to give birth. Didn't really have that. Everyone I spoke to was like, girl, you got a long way to go. So I was kind of prepping myself. Anyway, the day before my due date, I went on a really long walk, and I kept walking around really throughout the whole of my pregnancy. I really liked it, helped me clear my mind, got me off of all the like thinking about what if this, what if this, what if this. So I went on a nice long walk, went up a bit of a hill, which I think maybe got things going as well. And then anyway, it was my due date. I woke up, felt normal, felt fine, felt wonderful. And then I went to church as normal, was chatting to everyone, and they're like, you've got a long way to go. You do not look like you're about to give birth. The last song in church, I felt a little trickle, and I thought, that's odd. Did I just pee myself? Anyway, kept it to myself because I was really embarrassed that I thought I peed myself. Got into the car on the way home and I said to my husband, I either just peed myself or my waters have broken. He was like, there's no way your waters have broken. You probably peed yourself. Anyway, stood up out of the car and about 4 litres of water just gushed out of me. It was the wildest thing. And I did not think that I was going to have my waters break like that, because apparently it's quite rare for your waters to gush like that, and it's quite fun because we actually have the clip on the security camera or outside of the house. It's so much fun and I really like looking back at it. It was the weirdest, most surreal moment ever. We got inside to the house and we were like, well, what do we do now? We didn't know how long it would be, but I know for some people it can be a while from that moment, and there are so many different things that need to happen. But anyway, I got into the shower, cleaned myself off because there was water all over me, and my husband called up the hospital because you have to basically give them a warning because I wanted a water birth, so they needed to make sure that there was like a birthing suite ready for me basically. But unfortunately, when we called up, they said that I had to come in because I had been high risk in my pregnancy. They wanted me to come in and just check me over and stuff, which was really annoying. And in hindsight, and this is a lesson to anyone that's watching that is pregnant, stand up for yourself more, advocate for yourself, because I just did what they told me to, but it's your birth, and obviously within reason you want to be safe, you want to be healthy for you and the baby, but you know your body and you also know what you do and don't want to do. And I really wanted to labour at home. I just feel a lot happier at home, and obviously the main point of labour is to try and keep your oxytocin flowing, and me being at home would do that. And I could have had a bath, I could have watched Friends, you know, all that good stuff, but obviously for a firstborn you do what you're told. So we annoyingly went into the hospital. Actually, let me just give you some context. Sorry, my brain is all a bit higgledy. 2 p.m. the waters break, 3 p.m. my contractions start, and about 3:15 we drive to the hospital to get checked over. When my contractions start, I started using this app where you basically do breath work, and I kind of had it under control. I was feeling accomplished, I was feeling ready for the day, ready to tackle anything. And we had done a lot of hypnobirthing courses. Really recommend the Baby Academy, by the way, if you are pregnant or anything. They have some free online courses which are really, really great. I did a hypnobirthing one, I did like the first 12 weeks or something one. I did loads of other ones. My sister did a weaning one, so they have loads of great stuff available. You can pay for ones and they have first aid courses and stuff, but the free ones are really, really good. So I kind of was getting in the zone, just did my breath work, feeling like I had it all together. Got to the hospital, they kept me in the waiting room for a little bit and I had my headphones in, was still trying to stay in the zone. And then they told me that I needed to go to the birthing centre and be measured to see how dilated I was, which isn't a fun experience, I'm not gonna lie. Getting measured to see how dilated you were is odd. It's a little bit painful. But I was 2 centimetres dilated by that point. They gave me 2 options there. They said I can go home and continue to labour at home, or I can stay at the hospital and I can walk around to try and get things moving. But my contractions were really ramping up, and the woman left the room and came back in and said, we think you should stay here. If you can walk around, great. If you can't, we'll put you in the induction ward. There was no hecking way I was going to be walking around. I was in quite a lot of pain at this point. The contractions were they were rocking along. So we decided to go to the induction ward, which, as I said, wasn't part of the original plan, because the induction ward was an interesting place, I'll tell you that. There were lots of different sounds. There was someone chomping some corn nuts next to me. The woman opposite me had her kids there and they were quite loud, so it kind of was taking me out of the zone of my breath work. I still had my headphones in at this point. I was trying to keep it under control, but the control was going, as you can imagine. Then someone came in and started hooking me up to all these different things, which I kind of, again, wish I'd interrupted sooner, because as soon as they started hooking me up to the machines and I could hear the beeping of the machines and everything, I was taken out of the zone and I lost my breathing. I did not ever regain the breathing from this moment. The sound I was making was getting a lot louder and I was not in control, basically, which wasn't the plan, but hey, how in control can you be when you're giving birth? Anyway, my husband eventually took the woman outside and was like, my husband was wonderful. Let me just tell you, whoever your birth partner is, you have to make sure that they know what you want for your birth plan, because you need them to be able to speak up for you. You also want them to keep your family and friends, if that's what you want, in the loop. My husband was absolutely incredible. He was amazing. He did such a great job of speaking for me, of like just knowing what I wanted. I don't think I spoke The moment that I got into the induction ward to the moment I left the induction ward, I would just like snap and he would know exactly what I wanted. He was fan-flipping-tastic. Anyway, when the woman left the room, he went out and was like, I don't think that she was needing to be hooked up. We're literally just here waiting for the contractions to get more intense. Turns out it was supposed to be from the woman next door. I'm just glad that no like injections or anything like that happened. They got the wrong flipping woman. How bad is that? Anyway, at this point, I was really wanting a bath. I was wanting a bath so badly. And my husband, again, went out and asked if there was a bath available. He found some random room. And the baths were like, you know, in New York, when you go to an apartment and the baths are like this deep. It was really weird. I don't really know why. Anyway, I was in there for a while, just wallowing around, just breathing through it. I say breathing, howling through it. I do feel sorry for anyone in the vicinity because I'm a loud girl, all right? There's no denying it. I do not know how these people have it under control because I was yowling and howling. Anyway, got back to the induction ward after my bath and they offered me gas and air. I think it's the same reason why I don't like drinking. I don't like the feeling of being out of control. I also didn't find that it helped with my pain, but I think everyone's different because my mum and my sister swore by it and they both said they would not have been able to give birth without it. So maybe it's just a personal preference thing, I don't know. But I tried it once, did not like it, and then the nurses and midwives came in and were like, Grace, you really need to, you're using a lot of energy by, shouting and screaming. You need to really get it under control. And I thought, how dare you? How very dare you tell me to try and get it under control? I thought this, but again, I was just like, didn't say anything. And then I tried it again and it just didn't work for me. So I just did the whole thing without painkillers, which is a bad idea. If you can do it with painkillers, try and do it with painkillers because it doesn't make you any more special or anything like that. It literally, if I could have had the painkillers, I would have, but I just didn't work well with the gas in there. So by this point, I think it's about 7 o'clock and they come and they check how dilated I am because I had to be 4 centimetres dilated to go to the birthing centre. And that was where they had the water birth stuff and everything. And lo and behold, the woman said I was 5 centimetres dilated, but she said, you might not be 5 centimetres dilated. I don't know if it was just the hospital that I was in, but I didn't have one continual midwife. I had so many different people. Bear in mind, I wasn't in there for long. Like, it wasn't even 48-hour period or anything like that. But I probably went through about 12 different people. So I was kind of getting passed from pillar to post. But anyway, again, story for another day. I'm missing out a lot of details that I feel like I should probably put in here. Anyway, so then the woman came in, thought I was 5 centimetres, and then said, I'm not entirely sure, so I'm going to get someone else to come and check you. Another person came in to check me, said I was 3 centimetres dilated, which meant that I couldn't go to the birthing centre. Then someone else came back in and said, oh, you can't go to the birthing centre anyway because there's not enough staff on shift to go to the birthing centre. So I just had to wait it out. They talk about this thing in hypnobirthing where your breath work changes and you're in like the second stage. And I could tell that I was in the second stage because I was a lot deeper. You kind of go into like this mooing state where it's like, it's so weird. It's just like a lot deeper and a lot more aggressive. So we basically just had to wait it out until the birthing centre was open. So someone came along, I think about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and they said that they had enough staff on site to open the birthing centre. So I asked to be checked over and I was 6 centimetres, baby. You best believe that was sweet, sweet victory to me because I knew that I was going to be able to get in the bath again. And I really just wanted to float in water. That is all I wanted. I just loved water. Anyway, they rolled out a wheelchair for me. And from the moment that I found out I was 6 centimetres dilated to the moment that I rolled down the corridor, the head started crowning. I got to the birthing centre room and I said, I think I'm going to pee myself. Please, can I go to the toilet? She checked me out. Turns out it was the head crowning, and apparently that's very common, that you feel like you need to go to the toilet, but actually the head's coming out. So I went from about 6 centimetres to 10 centimetres dilated in a very, very short period of time. And let me tell you, the pain was a lot because it was all in my back. I got all my contractions in my back. I didn't feel one single one in my front. I don't really know what the feeling of like a contraction in your belly feels like. But it was because he came out on the side. So apparently that's what happens when they come out on the side. Anyway, so they ran the bath for me and I got into the bath at about 11:30 and then I was pushing his head, I was trying to push his head out for about half an hour, and it was just kept coming in and out and in and out. And then at one point I saw the midwife look at the emergency cord, and she looked really worried, and I said, I don't like that look. And she said, I can't be happy all the time. Anyway, I knew that in that moment I had to get that baby out. So I said one final prayer, and lo and behold, out pops baby's head. And it's really weird actually, because when you do the final push, when you're having a water birth, the body like kind of follows out after. You don't really even have to push it out. It's very odd. And the baby was born at 12:30 the next day, which was so annoying because I wanted him to be born on the due date so badly. But alas, half an hour later, and I was looking at the clock and I was trying to like push with it, which was probably a bad idea because that's probably why I had 2nd degree tears, because I was trying to push to get him out when the baby was like, whoa Nelly, I must stay in here for a little bit longer. So the whole pushing process probably took about an hour. And then I found out later that the midwife was worried because the baby's head was doing that for so long. She was worried that I don't know how shoulder dystocia works, but she was worried about shoulder dystocia and was going to pull the emergency cord for intervention, whether that was forceps, episiotomy, C-section, she didn't know, but she just thought that there would need to be intervention because she was worried the baby was really big. But no, he just had a big head. Anyway, so then the baby was born. Daddy was doing skin to skin as I was pushing out the placenta, which no one briefs you about. You have to then push the placenta out, and you get contractions when you push the placenta out, which is wild. Didn't know about that. And the woman actually commented that it was the largest placenta and umbilical cord she'd ever seen. Don't know if that's a compliment or not. I think it was from the iron transfusion that I had, but we'll leave it up to interpretation. Don't know if it's a good thing. And then I had to get stitched up, which wasn't a fun time. Would not recommend to a friend, but they did a great job. But you're so doolally at that point, you just get on with it. It's the oddest thing. You're like, all right, what else? You know, the whole world has seen me at this point. I'm ready for anything. Anyway, they didn't have any showers on my ward, which I don't really know if that's normal or not. So the poor midwife, I was literally just stood. It's so undignifying giving birth. You have to really leave your dignity in the door and go and give birth. You just have to be open to anything. But I was stood there in my pants in the middle of a dark bathroom as the woman sponged me down. The picture you probably don't need in your head. Anyway, then they took us to our room and we tried to get a few hours sleep. That's when my feeding journey started, my breastfeeding journey, which has been that's for a whole other video. It's been quite the journey, I'll tell you that for free. And then we left at 1 p.m. the same day that I gave birth. So it was a very quick turnaround, and it was I don't really know how to describe my birth experience because I feel very blessed with how it turned out, and I feel so blessed that we had a gorgeous little healthy boy at the end of it all. And I feel like I've missed out on so many details. So in the comments below, please let me know any questions you have. I might do an Instagram Q&A because I feel like, as I said, there's so many questions that I've probably missed out that you've got. But I feel very blessed that it happened the way it did. It is really intense, isn't it? But the main thing, I think you have to just be so open to anything, because in my head I was like, this could end in so many different ways, and you just have to not get your hopes on it. I think because I'd never thought I was going to give birth on my due date, which I didn't, but like go into labour on my due date, I was just so open to anything because I was like, I do not know what's going to happen, and that's what I think helped me the most. I will say I wish I could have had the gas and air because I think that would help me, because I do have a tiny bit of looking back, it like still gives me shudders, but I don't know if that's just because it's still so fresh. I hope I have filled you in on all the bits and bobs of baby's birth story. I feel like I need to definitely do a part 2 with your questions and kind of the next steps after he was born, because a lot has happened. Honestly, it's a whirlwind, and they say that the days are long and the weeks are short, and they're not joking when they say that. I don't know who they is, but they is true. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed today's Vlogmas, and I'm really glad that I finally got to show you my birth story because it was a wild, wild ride. I tell you that for free. I love you all so flipping much. Thanks for journeying with me through life. I'm honestly so flipping glad that we have each other. It's crazy that I started these videos when I was at university, and since then I have moved house, got married and had a baby, and we've been through it all together, and we've journeyed through so much, and I'm just so grateful for you. Thank you so much for being a part of this wonderful community. I love you all loads. Peace out, punks. Bye.